I'm a little sad.
Are you?
Well, we've had a lot of good
We've had
conversations.
amazing
We've met a lot of
conversations
cool
today.
people.
It's been an amazing day. Absolutely. Always a great show. Familiar face, familiar
Yeah.
name with us. Riley, if you would, real quick, just give us your name, who you're with, and what you do.
Sure. Riley Smith. I work with Trimble. I manage the monitoring, mining, and tunneling groups at Trimble. Surveyor by background.
Yep, remember that.
I've been at Trimble around 9 years.
Okay.
And kind of like to keep close to my roots in surveying. So a lot of what I do at Trimble relates back somehow to the surveying world.
Yep, good for you. So is the mining thing a fairly new endeavor for you? Or is that
Really
something
in the past couple of years? Yeah.
last couple of years?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds about right. And you guys have, what is it, Trimble Mine Insights?
Yeah, that's a new product that
Okay.
we just launched in November at Trimble Dimensions. And so that's been obviously a hot thing for me in the mining world.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little bit about it.
Please do.
Sure, if I can lead in.
Yeah.
Shameless.
Go for it.
Yeah,
That's
there's nothing
not
wrong
so
with that.
shameless.
Yeah, not so shameless.
So I mean, the history of it was at Trimble, we've been looking at all of these different industries where geospatial plays a big role, right? And you guys know there's a lot of them. And the one that I've been focusing on is mining. And we know, of course, there's surveying and mining and all of that. But the one thing I noticed when we're talking to mine companies and surveyors in the mining realm was data capture isn't really a problem anymore, right? They've got drones, they've got scanners, GPS.
Right.
It's not really a problem.
Mhm.
I don't need to teach someone about scanning there. They're well ahead of that curve. But the big thing is a lot of the time they either are not using the data effectively, like let's say it's taking a lot of time to process, a lot of time to get through, or they just don't know how to handle all of it. That makes an impact on the mining operations, right? Because we can get a point cloud, we can get an image, it looks great, everyone loves it. But there's so much you can do more with that from a mining context.
Yep.
And so that's really where the Mine Insights kind of formed around. And so we partnered with a company called Streos, a company here in the U.S., and came up with this product, Trimble Mine Insights. So it's a software, but the kind of key thing about it is there's several different AI models within it that have been trained on geospatial data. Primarily that's point clouds and imagery for different mining specific cases. Right? And I can run you through a few cases, but the kind of three areas where we focused on is like safety cases,
Okay.
Design conformance, right? Kind of like a civil engineering case. We designed it. Does it actually look like it? And production cases, right? Because mining, the biggest thing is how can we move material as fast and most efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
And so that's the core of it is like taking, okay, we know there's tons of geospatial data being collected, and we know that they're trying to make operational gains somehow from it. So that was a big focus. And in kind of the areas that we've looked at are really three. There's the surveying, called volumetrics part of it, right? And a lot of the job of the surveyors on the mine today are
traditional.
Capturing stockpiles, design conformance, looking at day-to-day changes, and reporting on that. And that really is important to feed into the long-term and the short-term planning. The second part of that is more in the production in the drill and blast world, which is somewhat, I'll admit, that's a new world for me as a surveyor.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting to learn about that. But it's really interesting to see, though, how much geospatial data wasn't used in the past for that. And now when you incorporate that into the design of a drill and blast pattern with all your explosives and your timing information, how you can start to do a lot more and be more productive in that process. And then the third area is more on the geotechnical side. I even think the last time we met, we were talking about more on the monitoring geotechnical side. And
right,
same in the,
right up Sean's alley.
Right up my alley.
Exactly.
Speaking his language.
And the geotechnical side is interesting because there's so much tie into things that we're doing in Trimble with like more of a deformation monitoring, settlement monitoring.
Sure.
But also into geology, slope mechanics, that type of stuff. And the point is, like, we're not trying to go in and say, okay, we know everything about subsurface mechanics and all that, but the geospatial component can be an overlay, and you can have some insight from that. That will help you downstream with all these other aspects. So that's kind of the high level overview of it.
Sure.
What are some examples of that, of the safety component? Like from a geotechnical standpoint, it was always, there's a lot of slopes in mining. They move material, they move mountains back and forth. And anytime you get close to the edge of a slope, you always look on the ground and see if you see any cracks. that are
First-
forming.
First, people don't go near the slope.
Also,
go
don't,
to-
yes.
don't go there.
But for those that are doing work at a mine and are supposed to be there, and that's one of the things we were always taught, like, hey, mention that, because that could be a slope failure or the indication of a potential slope failure. And now I'm sure there's lots of more remote sensing, but is that a picture that you can get, from some of the geospatial data? Just say, I'm going to use the wrong word, easy button, but can I easy button and tell me if there's any slope cracking or mild deformation or stuff like that?
Sure, that would be. I'm sure there's an AI component there, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, the easy button is honestly kind of the direction we want to go. Because so much of this today is very manual.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Data processing, engineer looking at whatever data they might be looking at, trying to make some assessments of that. And we're trying to get rid of a lot of that manual process so they can focus on the core information to make those big decisions like you're talking about, like slope failure or potential slope failures and things like that. So in terms of the safety component, then there's two areas. The one I'm really passionate about is the around roads and haul roads.
Oh, yeah.
You guys might be aware of this. So we have the MSHA standard here in the US, and a lot of countries have kind of a similar mining regulation standard. Might be called something different. But the interesting thing is, like, we always think of mining kind of like a rough and dirty, like we just build roads and build pits and take material. But like, there's an engineering design that goes into the roads, into the slopes, and all this stuff. But a lot of as like mining moves more into remote and autonomous operations, infrastructure becomes even more important, because now you're relying on a system, a machine, to make a decision about something, as opposed to a human with some expertise, and they know where that road is bumpy because they've driven it 500 times.
Right.
Yeah. And that's where the story around safety and roads comes in. So one of the models that we've got in the software is a whole road AI tool.
Yeah.
So essentially what it's done is we trained it on a bunch of different data sets of mines and said, okay, here's what roads look like, and here's the parameters we're looking for based on these standards, which are typically things like road widths, drainage,
It's like slope,
slopes,
slope is big.
berm, safety berms is a big deal.
Berm heights.
Exactly. Potholes, rutting, a variety of these different parameters. But instead of someone going manually digitizing that, which I know a lot of companies are today, we're trying to do that as fast as we can through AI. So automate as much of it as possible. It's AI, so it's never 100% perfect. We'll try to say that, but it's pretty good. We're looking like 80, 90% a lot of the time when we look at this data. And so we're removing a lot of that manual upfront labor of data processing. Then they can diagnose a lot clearer where all those areas are on the haul roads. And a lot of them today are doing it very manually. They might go with the GPS, they might go with the tape measure and just spot check some of those berms.
I've had that job.
Exactly. Probably, some poor intern is going up there. And so this way you get a whole picture of the mine, right? Every berm at like a foot density across the whole thing removes the manual piece. But what I would like about that too is we're feeding that data into like a Trimble machine guidance system. And so you could bring a grader out that now has the map that says, okay, these are the areas that are actually got potholes or the berms out of tolerance, and go fix those, instead of just a grader good running up and down the road, just hoping, we're going to actually tactically, I call it tactical grading, right? Be focused about it. And that's a big, that plays big into safety for the obvious reasons with the haul roads.
Oh yeah. I mean, you have a truck hauling 250 tons of ore, like that. Exactly. it cannot be good enough for a truck like that.
So that's a big one. The other safety one you're talking about was the slopes and the berm and the slope stability piece of it. And so we have some different, several AI models, but one of them is around extracting the slopes. So getting your toes and crests, and then evaluating your angles, your berm widths, your catch benches, all that good stuff. But we've also tied that with a model that's been trained on wedge failures specifically. So there's a lot of different failure mechanisms, and hopefully maybe that's a direction we can go in the future of getting more of those in. We started with wedge failures because it's one of the most common. But essentially, if we know some of the material properties,
right? That's what I was going to ask. Yeah,
and we have the geospatial data, so drone flight or scan, we can then make some assessments on how, on a safe factor of safety, how likely that slope might be for a risk, right? So, and then that plays back to the tactical aspect, right? Instead of monitoring the entire pit, maybe we densify prisms in an area or tilt sensors or whatever it is, and focus on the ones that are more critical, as opposed to just the whole thing.
Right. How, maybe we're here already, but how close are we to like real-time decision making from like real-time collected survey data?
I think we're getting closer and closer. We're getting closer and closer on that. I think the big limitation today is the computing.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah. I mean, think about it. The geospatial data is not a small
Oh no.
piece of information.
Right.
And I mean, all the companies here, I'm sure, are trying to solve this in different ways. I think that's the biggest challenge, and it's going to get better and better. I mean, NVIDIA and all these other companies are making better and better processing boards and so forth. So I expect that's going to change drastically. That, I think, is the biggest roadblock to get to like real-time, snap your fingers decision, right? Because today, when you process data, even if you run through an AI model or whatever it is, you're still time, right?
Sure.
It's 5 minutes, it's 50 minutes, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But to get to instantaneous decision making, you need to get a little bit further to the processing.
Yeah.
I think we'll get there, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah,
But if we can get from 5 days of somebody manually, a technician manually digitizing something down to 5 minutes,
sure.
I think that's
Oh yeah.
It's damn near real time.
yeah, that's good enough. for
Right.
most
Good.
things, right?
Exactly. So Mine Insights obviously sits inside the Trimble ecosystem.
Yep.
So do you think the future is less about individual sensors and more about connecting the different ecosystems?
Oh, 100%.
Is that-
Yeah, no question
That's
about
where
it.
we're at. Yep.
Yeah, well, like I think this event is a good indication of that data capture is pretty much democratized and quite widely accessible.
Yep.
I mean, when I was a surveyor, it was surveyors who were doing data capture, right? But now a lot of people are doing data capture,
Right.
in different ways and different sensors and different mediums, whether
Sure.
it's in a plane or a drone or on the ground. So I think the bigger thing is, how do we get from data capture to whatever insight, whatever decision we're trying to make faster, but also to make it so it's not as siloed, I guess, simple thing, right? Because you might be capturing data with a drone from one provider, Trimble GPS over here, scanner over here. You might be processing it here and there, but like working all together to get to that insight, because that's really what the end surveyor or whoever it is trying to do, is just make a decision on something. So, and I think we're making good moves from a Trimble perspective on that. Things with like Trimble Connect, or we're incorporating more from other technology providers, other even service providers who are doing their own tools inside of Trimble Connect. And Mine Insights, same thing. It links into Trimble Connect. So if you're using, for example, a non-Trimble sensor, feeding data to Trimble Connect, no problem. You go into Mine Insights, no worries, right? So that's kind of the world I hope to see, and what direction we're going.
I got to ask, because you did mention something that kind of ties back to what you were saying before on the slope failure end, and you said, if we could get some material property in there, that's a data collection that isn't as readily accessible as all of this, all of the things that you can see. How do you guys have a plan of how you're going to pull in other than just spatial data to those data sets?
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a roadmap, if you will, of how we get through that. And today, like, we already work with data from drill and blast. So like explosive material information, that kind of stuff.
Right.
The geotechnical one, I think, is a good one for us to do more with. So
almost geolocate those borings and levels and tie that together, because I'm pretty sure I know that's not happening yet, but that's got to be one of the next steps, right?
Yeah, well, and it's, to me, it's also an indication of the industry too, because a lot of these groups, your geotechnical group, your survey group, your geology group on a mine, not always are talking to each other.
Oh, well, 100% they're not talking to each other. You'll be lucky if they're in the same room ever.
And that's probably not just mining, but I'll speak from a mining context. And so I think we can help coach the benefit of that from a technology standpoint. There's a cultural element there, right? That is harder to change, takes time. But that's the big thing, is it's to your point, right? Is if we show the value of having the geotechnical data, the subsurface information, boreholes, all that good stuff, along with the drone flights and everything, see the power of what that can actually help you do, then they're help break those walls down a bit more and help these departments collaborating, right?
Yeah, that's a good
And you
point.
might see a little bit merging more of these professions too, which I thought is always, a powerful professional, somebody who doesn't just necessarily stick to one lane, but also understands another, right? Your surveyor who also has geotechnical expertise or something.
Right.
Like that. So yeah, but more
Crazy.
direct to answer your question, yeah, there's.
He's talking about me, Kent.
I hear him.
Didn't say it specific.
Oh, geez.
What else you got over there?
I'm done. No, really good conversation.
You guys getting any mining folks on the podcast?
No. Not
Sometimes when
really.
we come here, like the Aussies are a lot of times in,
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
big
mining
industry
space.
in
Yeah, it's a big
Australia,
industry
of course.
there.
Definitely.
And they seem like
That's
their
true.
technology starts from the mining industry and then they
It
take
goes
it
into
elsewhere. And we're
Mhm.
sometimes kind of the opposite,
Yeah.
where we're starting it elsewhere and bring it into the mining, at least in the States.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I know. I think I've gone as a surveyor. I did some work into the mines, but I was never working like directly for
Yeah.
a mine. I've grown to really appreciate the challenges.
Sure.
And, what they're doing. It's like it's a mini city.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right? It's like it's
Yeah.
a big project, constantly evolving.
It has its own
Go
coordinate
for it.
system. It's got its
Exactly.
own, like, yeah.
Probably from the 60s.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But it's just so big, you have to do that because you can't just, it's not a flat surface.
Sure.
Like you really have to incorporate everything.
Yep.
Good stuff. What else you want to get out there,
Anything
Riley?
else?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's the big thing. I would just say to everyone,
If they're interested more about finding out the
Yeah,
mining
Mine Insights,
solutions,
you can
Mine
easily
Insights.
Google the Trimble Mine Insights. I'm always happy to. People want to sync up one-on-one. They can hit me on LinkedIn as most do.
Yep.
But definitely Google the Trimble Mine Insights. We've got some good stuff out there. We're going to be running some webinars and some different content over the next couple months too.
Cool.
If anyone's hungry for it, so
You betcha.
keep an eye out.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thanks again, Riley.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you
your
guys.
time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always
All right.
good to sit down with you, so I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
cool.
Keep up the
Appreciate
good work too.
Thanks a lot.